Hey everyone, Corrie here, coming in to do a channel message for the last week, the last few days of 2021. And of course, this is going to take me into some of 2022, a little bit of prediction energy that comes with this as well as we travel into a new year. And so the only thing that changes is you wake up and the times and the dates roll and change like that way. But out there in the stars, out in the universal energy, there is a lot of shifts that's happening. There's a lot of changes. I'm not an astrologer, but I do bring through those messages as I step out into that universal, out into the energy. So I read the energy that's coming through, and I also channel through those who are speaking through me. So today, as I'm preparing this message, I have a lot of energy, a lot of energy that's coming in around the walls are falling. And I keep hearing it. It's like, and I got that essence, and I know it's not even the same year or like in the same, I don't think it's in the same cycle at all as like the Berlin Wall coming down, and people kind of getting sick of it and really truly making that choice to break through, to break that wall down. I remember being in high school back when that happened, and just the energy, that charge of, yeah, like just finally saying, no, we've had enough, like, and everything shift and change. Like after that, there was a big change. Well, that's kind of where we are in our own energy. That's what it felt like to me. And I kept hearing that song, and the walls come, when the walls come down. I don't know who that is, like a Pink Floyd song or something like that. Like I don't, but that's the energy that I've been getting all day. I just see this dismantling. Almost feels like I'm walking on ice, and then all of a sudden, like the feet comes out from underneath, and it's almost like I start to laugh. Like it's like I'm not hurt. It's like, oh, I don't have to be so cautious, or oh, I don't have to be so afraid. It's like, oh, I don't have to follow those same stupid rules that have been in place. And I just feel like it's like, it's just, and I feel like that's through everything. It's like you have to be this person to do this and that person to do this, and you got to be this kind of energy and that, and you got to have this education, that education. Like I just feel like we're moving so far beyond some of that energy as we're coming through into 2022. And so I don't know where the big kind of bang energy that I'm getting, that big shift, that breakthrough, the brick walls. Like I just see like that whole like explosion of this brick energy, breaking down the old paradigms, breaking down the old walls. And I also see some big, and I have been calling this for a couple of years now. When COVID first, before COVID actually hit, I was getting ready to teach an angel course, and I just remember seeing Archangel Michael land and hit the road. And I just walked into the angel class, and I'm like, the ground just shook. Archangel Michael came. I just seen like chaos and war, and I heard all these like loud noises, and I'm like, things, the world as we know it will never be the same. Like I just kept hearing another song, and so it was like, and that truly was like everything has shifted and changed from that time until now. And so there's a lot of my channel messages that are already on YouTube that are from those times. I haven't been sharing so much of the predictions lately as I was previously. I've been kind of just keeping those in for myself. But what's coming up for me now is I'm being given a beam of light that has taken me into this core of the earth energy, and really truly finding a new way and walking a new way. And it's almost as if the way that the world has seen, the way that they tried to tell us that it is, the way that the government, all of this, scientists, not all scientists, don't get me wrong, but the scientific way is blending into spirituality. Now, government is not, it's trying to move farther and farther away, which is making it an old energy. It's old. And so it's not really going to be flowing so well into 2022. You're not going to see it do well. You're not going to see it. You're going to see a lot of collapses. You're going to see a lot of changes. You're going to see a lot of trying to hold on to that control, trying to force control. And I just feel like it's like when we break through those barriers, when we break through those walls of energy that I'm picking up, is that I feel like we're going to be walking into something, that we're going to have to be eyes wide open. We're going to have to be really, truly looking. And so, when we come into this thought of saying, I told you so, I told you so, I told you so, that's not going to help in the world at all. It's not about I told you so. It's about the awareness when we wake up to truth, when we wake up to awareness, when we wake up to our new selves. And so as we're coming into those last few days, it just feels like just let go of such a crippling hold and control to be right, or to be so tied to one side of the story or the other, or one political party or the other. Like just know that, it's like, let's start letting go of some of this energy. But what I also seen coming from that core of the earth, the only way I can describe is like core to the earth. That's where I felt like I was walking around, is I could see like as above, down below, as above, as above, as above, as below. And so what I was seeing was that same angelic energy, the same love and light that's there is also down there. And I'm like, so our personal hells that we create is our own desire to stay stuck. And it's what we create, but what we also get feared into believing, so that we can feel like we've created comfort and that we've created a good world and a good life. And it's like, well, but not all of that is really a truth. You've just accepted it. So I just find we're going to have more and more of not accepting things the way that we were. I feel like we're going to see a lot more of breaking through old ways and old paradigms and old energy. And we're also seeing some big shift in moving beyond this, this anger. And I'm going to say it the way it is. It's like, there's like, grow the fuck up. That's what it feels like to me. There's just so much of this immaturity, so much that we have witnessed in being stuck. Like, I feel like there's like generations and generations that have just that sense of being stuck in an old story, and someone's got to pay the price. Someone's got to see me. Someone's got to know me. It's like, everyone needs to be seen. Everybody needs to be validated. And I'm like, if you could only see what we could see, you could see we're all of one. And not saying that not to say that we're not to be a part of our culture and our identity, but most of what we push out for others to believe about ourselves is not really even our true self. Most of it is defiance. Most of it is pushing, to prove somebody wrong. Like, there's so much that goes into that you don't even realize. There's so much work goes into creating your identity to be the person that you want to be in this world. There's so much effort. So what we're being told is you're going to see it's like, where am I forcing to be accepted? And where am I forcing that energy? And what am I forcing my own self to accept and believe? And so a lot of places where being forced and being force fed and forcing ourselves into some beliefs that we ultimately, we're like, our whole body says this don't feel right. It's not right for me. Don't feel like a good energy. And I just feel like it's forced kindness, forced compassion. And that is programmed to us. We've been so conditioned to that. And that sense of being entitled into, a world or a life, we're also getting we're getting a microscopic view of that sense of entitlement. And before we judge any one particular group or era or what, don't even bother, because each and every one all has their own sense of entitlement story, whether it's to have your old ways or your new ways, whether it's to, be seen a certain way or to not be seen a certain way. Either which way, it's all about wants and wanting our own way. It all comes down to that. And so we're seeing some big shifts and changes that are going to be taking place there. And then we're also going to see that whole sense of, I'm going to say like a Martin Luther King energy, a Gandhi energy, a sense of when somebody, who else can I say? I mean, I'm channeling, so it's hard to get names. It's hard to get human names when you're channeling, but just that if you've ever explored spiral dynamics, and it's one part of a big thing of what I do and what I work within, and it's that spiral dynamics. And when you go deeper into spiral dynamics, you realize when we move from mob mentality and we make the shift from mob mentality, and somebody just wakes up one morning, shakes their head and says, what was I doing? And why did I get so caught in that conviction? So our frustrations, our angers, we can be blindsided by what we want to see, what we want to believe, how we want to turn other people into enemies. And I feel like we're just waking up and just shaking our head and just going, oh, So you're seeing, as you know, you're seeing kind of that savior energy rise up, that Christ-like energy that's kind of being reborn or reawakened within us, that just says it's time for us to take a step ahead. And so I always taught this in, and I think it's even in my More Than Existing book, is the fact that, you know, it's one thing to be brave when everybody puts on their armor, they take their weapons, they, you know, they gather up all this ammunition, all this, you know, ammo of knowledge that you can get, all these things, all these stack of newspaper reports and what you think somebody is and who you think somebody is, and you can set out to destroy anybody, and you can pretty much destroy anyone that you want. You can, based on what you've already told yourself on the inside they are, what you've convinced yourself, what somebody else has convinced you, even though you've probably never shook their hand, never met them, never been in personal contact, never even had any doings or with them. But because there is a narrative, because a story gets put into place, we have, you know, here we go. We got to go after this. So anyone can be brave. It is courageous to drop it all, to drop the anger, to drop that not true self, to drop away all of that and say, whoa, wait, stop. That takes courage to say, I'm gonna, yeah, no, I can't go with this today. I can't fall into this today. I feel like there's more to this. I feel like, you know, there's some scapegoating, there's some other stories happening here. There's more to this picture. And I would like to be able to hear all sides, or I'd like to be able to gain a broader spectrum, perspective, to be able to look at everything and to then become a voice of inspiration, a voice of love, and to, you know, to be able to give messages of love and light instead of spewing out more of the hate stories and more of that energy, is to be more of an inspiration. So we're seeing an awakening of more of the savior energy. So where can we in ourselves, so this is where we bring it all back in now, let's bring it all back into us. Where can we within ourselves, coming into the end of the year, really truly become that savior to the inner child of us, the inner young adult of us, where without having to become a rebel, without having to create another hate story, another frustration, we're going to step back and just with love and just say, you know, I see you, and I can guarantee you that, you know, this is not how your life will turn out. Like, I'm going to redirect this now. And if you truly believe that, you know, everything, nothing really has, if you collapse all time, all things are happening at once. So, I mean, your birth would be just happening, right? Like that would be the, you know, in whatever your birthday become, but you know, you would be just arriving as long, and you would also just be ending, plus you would be existing. So you'd have all of these stories that would be happening all at once. So if you can travel, so even in your mind, so if you can create a story where everyone is hateful, why can you not create a story where you can go back to the inner child, back to the teenager, back to the young adult, hold them and look them in the eye and just say, I see you. I see that you're hiding. I see that you're sending out your daggers. I see that you're sending out, you know, that you have this protector energy that you're presenting into the world, but now it's growing and now it's become bigger and bigger and bigger. And it's not as small as you were. So it's like, you're not responsible. Let that go to rest. Let that younger version go. Just like, I know how it happened. I know your story. I believe you. I trust in you. I have faith in you. And now let's really, truly rewrite and change our stories. And to become that savior that picks up that little energy and just moves it and shifts it into a new, you know, a freedom, and setting ourselves free. And that's where we start to show mercy and step back into grace. We've lost the essence of what it means to exist in grace. So coming back in and having the courage, and so understanding a deeper understanding of courage and dignity and self-respect, and just being able to be present with ourselves and know, you know, how much our own stories dictates and controls how we react and how we respond. And so we can be the change, if we can be the savior, if we can be that in ourselves, if we can shine a light that is so bright, that sees that beautiful love, that beautiful innocence, that beautiful purity, and bringing that innocence and purity forward, then imagine what we can be. So as we're moving forward, it's when we break down the doors to that's keeping the best of us hidden. When we break away, that's keeping our hearts hidden behind closed doors. When we break away those bricks that are in our mind of being so hardcore set to stories and to what we believe and to this stupid media, who is, to me, is the epitome of a ruination of what it means to give truth, to give, to be unbiased, because you're not seeing it. And when it's owned, when you're owned by something larger than you, when you allow yourself to be owned, when you no longer have your own free will, or you have to get the approval of the words you're allowed to speak, when you have to follow the laws and the rules of, you can't say this is what we believe, so you better like change everything in the story to make it fall into that narrative. Well, that's what we do with ourselves our whole lives. So why would we want to continue it? And why would we want to fall into it? So being that change within ourselves, saying, you know what, I'm not even going to be that in my own life. Like, I'm not going to write the script. I'm not going to feel like I got to be afraid to be me, or afraid to speak, a truth in a loving way, not to be destructive, but to be honest and authentic. And so we're breaking down walls, we're breaking free, and we're also saying that ain't working. Like, we're not dumb, and we're not, it's like we're kind of done being played for being the stupid little humans, right? Like, we're done being played for being the everyday human. And what does the everyday human know? I know some pretty spectacular everyday humans. I can guarantee you I do. I know some pretty intelligent, and I know some great, brilliant minds who are amongst the everyday people. And so I believe that we have the ability to from a healed place in our hearts and our mind, that we can truly move into 2022. And not saying we're not going to be met with challenges, or that, or that things are not going to be a little bit difficult. But I just feel like we're going to be aware of our blessings and our gifts. I also feel like we're going to see that sense of exposure. I feel like we're going to see that top heavy, that built those foundations built on weak foundations. You're going to see those crumble. You're going to see some change. You're going to see people finally say, this don't make sense. Like, why should all the everyday people accept a set salary, the narrative of the robots will take over the world, and all the rest of you everyday people will live on one average little pay, and that's how you'll live your life, and you can never excel, you can never grow above that, you can never go beneath that, you're just going to coast through life. Well, that's called just fucking existing, right? And it's like, so we want the world to just exist so that we can play in our playground and create these monstrous energies that makes everyone else peons. Well, we get to thrive and grow our massive companies and be this big and be larger than life and have millions of dollars, and we'll live in our world and we'll live in our beautiful world, and the rest of you will live down here. I'm like, that's not really sitting well in the universal energy of saying there's a whole bunch, there's a percentage that's trying to play God. And when you try to play God, I feel like there is greater lessons to be learned from trying to play God. And so it's like, I'm just going to say, I see the light. I see the light. And through that light, the guardians have told me that, the way that the guardians come through is, we are larger than they shall ever be. And to keep your faith in us, and we shall see how that will all work out. And so there is a lot of narratives, a lot of push, a lot of fear stories that are not really true. And the grand puma of Mother Earth, and the fae of the earthling, and the dragon energy, all of that energy feels like it is awakening. We're awakening the dinosaur. Like we're awakening that deep-seated energy that needs to rise up, that needs to come up. And it's of light. It's not of dark. It's of true light. It's of the same energy, the same light that's here to bring the changes that need to be made, that are here to help the world, to help the everyday people, the people that really truly matter. And so we will be in their way a little bit, of course. We will be, we're going to have to kind of take some of the brunt of the eruptions of the earthly energies, as earthquakes and volcanoes and those type of things will erupt a little, some more into the next year. But God willing, that, it's more of a shakeup and not harming anything or keeping the main things out of the way. But the energy is there. Not saying it's going to happen, but that's what we're feeling inside of ourselves. So bringing it back into us is that inside of us, it's like all of a sudden we just go, fuck that. I'm done being controlled. I'm done being told I have to be this, do this. I'm done, because this is like really truly testing to see how big of a puppet I am. And so am I prepared to be a bigger puppet? Can I stay being a puppet on a string? I feel like we're cutting the puppet strings and we're setting ourselves free. And it just feels like there's a sense of freedom, liberation. And I just keep seeing Lady Liberty and just raising up the flame, shining that light, and just Lady Liberty shining bright. So that's my message for the last few days of 2021. And this is also a little bit the prediction going into 2022. So I hope this resonates with you. I hope this, if it resonates with you, then it's yay. And if not, then it's not for you. You may be in another one of my channel messages, another one of my predictions. I haven't done the monthlies yet. I haven't done the zodiac signs yet for 2022, and I will be hopefully getting those and getting a big message for 2022 done in the next few days. But thank you for being with me. Thank you for joining me. And please remember, like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Also, go to CorrieThorne.com and you can sign up and purchase your ticket to be a part of the massive weekend-long online summit that is happening, more than existing summit that is happening the first weekend in January 7th, well, after New Year's, January 7th, 8th, and 9th. It's all online. Everything's recorded. If you can't make it to all the lives, you can go back in for like up to 6 months or something, 3 months, to watch all of the videos, all the recordings, to get all the information about all the instructors, about all the presenters and what they do, where to reach them. Everything will be right there for you. And so, yeah, if you want to join us and come in, and I'm also doing a 2-hour live mediumship and intuitive guidance, myself and Lisa Richard of Loving Energy Recharge on the Saturday night. So yeah, if you want to join us, come get into CorrieThorne.com for purchase your ticket today. So much love and have a beautiful New Year's. Happy New Year's. Bye-bye.